Hello, welcome to your in-depth horoscope forecast for week commencing the 4th of November for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. This week sees three groupings of energies. There's still the Sun and Mercury, which is tracking backwards in the sign of Scorpio, which is about transformations. We also have Venus and Jupiter in the much more expansive and optimistic Sagittarius. And finally, Saturn and Pluto in the much more orthodox Capricorn. Now, of course, all these influences are going to be interacting with one another. In fact, on the first day, the Sun in Scorpio forges a right angle with the Moon in Aquarius. If there is a situation that you're involved with where there does seem to be an awful lot of politics swirling around, some of it may not be particularly obvious, but you can pick a sense of it up through the prism of Scorpio's energy, which helps us to really sense what's going on beneath the surface. And of course, with Mercury retracing its steps, if we are trying to collaborate or cooperate with anyone who's withholding information, not paying us money that's due, or there are glitches and problems that we don't seem to have any direct control over, then that can be frustrating. But actually, this is a week where Mars and Pluto, so Mars in Libra, is actually still in its right angle with Pluto for pretty well the whole of the week. So it's one of those weeks, if we get so frustrated that we try to push the pace and really drive a solution through, rather than stay much more self-contained, it actually probably could be counterproductive. Because in the second half of this week, ironically, Mars forges a brilliant angle to Jupiter. So it could be that if we can just find the enthusiasm, the passion, and the persuasion in a kind of good way, other people can actually be very responsive. And also the Sun forges a very stabilizing link to Saturn, which means that where we've put the hard work in, the application, and also the perspiration, we could see some very solid rewards starting to show themselves. Now, of course, with Mercury retrograde, there could be those delays. Not everything may go quite at the pace we want, but also Mercury retrograde must be seen as a positive thing sometimes if it helps us to rethink what isn't working very well. So that could be an option this week. So if there is a relationship, even with a financial institution where you don't really feel you're getting the best deal, change it. That could be a positive thing you can do with Mercury retrograde. And also from Friday to Sunday, Mercury, despite the retrograde, forges a beautiful link with Pluto. If this rings a bell, it's because of the retrograde that it's being repeated. But this helps us to penetrate to the core of what's really useful. And I do feel it can be a real help to offset the more difficult energies that Mercury retrograde can bring. The Sun's also forging a beautiful link with Neptune in the second half of this week, and finding the time, the energy or the resources to help someone who's less fortunate could be something that gives us a big lift. There is one other influence I want to tell you about this week that's a bit more obtuse but very important. It does involve Venus, which is now in the very free-spirited Sagittarius, but Venus is in a quincunx with Uranus. If you remember, Mars went through this recently. Now, Venus in Sagittarius is very much about being more in the moment. It's about being experimental, but it's also about the truth, whereas Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus can be very impulsive, just suggests that when it comes to something we desire, whether it's a big ticket item, or if we're planning our Christmas budget, or if we're wanting to treat someone we really like, it is going to be important to try to contain our enthusiasm and not splash out rather more than we can really afford. So it could lead to a little bit of impulsiveness around a relationship or expenditure. Your specific forecast, Gemini, shows that with that quarter moon going on, you need to prioritise this week. Now that's because the sun is in the part of your horoscope to do with everyday details, work, organisation, but the moon is in your sister air sign of Aquarius, and that's pushing you to be more mindful of your freedoms, your independence. If you try to do too much for others, you could be resentful. If you try to follow your own heart rather too much, you could find that other people are kind of saying, where are you? So there's a kind of balance to find. However, this week does see a gorgeous alliance between the Sun and also Saturn. If you do need to really concentrate on a business matter, your finances, or even getting the foundation of your diet and health practices much more organised in your world, this could be a week of real progress. But I think the super excitement for you this week comes in the relationship between Mars and Jupiter. Jupiter, along with Venus, are in your sector of relating. And in Venus's case, it's possible someone from your past could come surprisingly to mind, may even get in touch. But as far as Mars is concerned, it's angled to Jupiter. Mars is in a really positive, go-getting and very attractive part of your situation. So if you do want to reach out to someone that you're strongly attracted to, you could have the confidence to do it in the second half of this week, and it could just work out really well. Thank you so much for joining me for your video. If you'd like to know what 2020 would hold for you beyond your zodiac sign, based on your time, date and place of birth, please see the link beneath this video. If you order your forecast now, you can get 30% off and the rest of 2019 free. But for now, good luck and goodbye.